What is up, everybody? A LeBron James impression right there. What is up, everybody? Dish won't kill my vibe. Today, I finally get to do something that I've been wanting to do for such a long time. I don't know why it took this many years to do it, but I really want to talk about the NBA. Basketball. Basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court. Now, I've already said this multiple times. If you've already watched my videos, if you know me from a personal level, you know my obsession with basketball is actually unhealthy. It's absolutely unhealthy. I need to talk about all 30 NBA teams. I listen to everything from the GMs being changed to waiver wire transactions to free agency news, rumors, all the stuff that they don't talk about on ESPN anymore, okay? The actual NBA news. Instead of, did LeBron put on Monterey Jack cheese for Taco Tuesday, or who's Ben Simmons dating right now? Like all that stuff that they're showing on TV right now on ESPN, TMZ, whatever the hell that is right now, whatever they call sports. I don't care about all that stuff, okay? I really just want to talk about the NBA. This is a milestone season for the NBA. It's the 75th anniversary of the NBA, and they've done such a great job already marketing. They had one of the most creative advertisements I've ever seen in anything. It's like all across any business. I've never seen an advertisement as good as the NBA 75, The Neighborhood, okay? It's so good. It's about like 3 minutes long. Please watch that if you get a chance. But what I wanted to do was give you 75 NBA takes. Now, I'm not going to do that all in one video, I promise. This might be like a 5-part series right before we tip off. And then moving forward from that point on, I might talk about stuff like maybe, since it's 3 in Dish, I might want to cover like 3 important parts of that week in the NBA. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about. I have to go as the season plays along, but let's get right into it. Let's talk about some of these hot takes. Now, some of them are hot, some of them are mild, some of them are in between, okay? And I'm here, but I'm going to have 75 NBA takes. And if I can hit on at least like 15 of them, or maybe even like 20, I'll be happy with that at the end of the season. So I'll keep a tally of everything I've said, and let's see if it actually comes true, okay? The Lakers will not finish higher than the 3rd seed in the West. And that's okay because, you know, this actually happens with LeBron James teams. They kind of coast in the regular season. They have a lot of new pieces with Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, a whole plethora of, basically the whole roster got revamped. And they don't know what the starting lineup is going to be. I fully expect it to take like 20 games where they might play 500 basketball until they finally figure out, like, this is the starting lineup, this is our bench rotation, and, you know, God forbid if you know, like, nobody gets injured, this is the lineup that's going to be contending for a championship at the end of the season. But in the regular season, they just coast. So the Lakers won't finish higher than 3rd. I don't think they're going to finish lower than 4th, so I have them at the 3 or 4th seed, okay? Ben Simmons gets traded by Christmas Day. Now, this was a take that I had last night before today's news about Ben Simmons reporting to camp. I know he wants his money. I know he's sick and tired of losing all that money. I think Christmas is a safe bet because around December is when the new signing period is over for all the players, all the rookies. Everybody becomes eligible to be traded around December, so like no holds bar. And I think at that time, the Sixers are going to find themselves in a tough spot where they're not really meeting expectations. They still might be in the East playoff hunt, but Ben Simmons hasn't played a game for them, so it kind of is going to become a desperation move that they need help ASAP because Joel Embiid can't take it, can't take it anymore. He needs help. So I think before Christmas is when you see Ben Simmons get traded. So we'll see. That's not a bold statement, but that's how I think it's going to happen. This rookie class will have 4 guys, I think, averaging more than 16 points per game. Now, just for comparison, last year's class, which had LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards, I combined them, LaMelo Anthony. I was like, okay. Last year's class only had 2 players that averaged over 16 points per game. This year, I can see Jalen Green, certified bucket getter. Cade Cunningham, he's going to have all the green light in Detroit. I can see Jalen Suggs from Orlando averaging over 16 because they have so many They need help. They need all the scoring they can get. And I think the fourth name that I'm not sure who it's going to be particularly, but I'm really high on Bo Knight from Charlotte. I think he's got all the tools to be a two-way scorer on this. Like, he can hit the three, he can slash. Or Josh Giddey from OKC, which has been a kind of a questionable pick by some. But I think since there's nothing in OKC right now as far as like the point guard, Giddey is going to have a lot of opportunities to hoist up some shots. And I think he's going to be a really good complement to Lou Dort and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I'm high on that guy too. There's a guy on San Antonio. Pay attention to Primo, because I feel like if they're going to rebuild and give this guy a chance, I think he's going to surprise a lot of people too. And with the Spurs, you're going to have to pay attention to anybody they draft, because they might become a future Hall of Famer. They're just really that damn good at picking out their prospects. Number 4, the Washington Wizards are not as bad as people make them out to be. Yeah, you have Brad Beal, you have one of the elite scorers in the NBA, but aside from that, I'm actually very impressed by the bench depth that they have. They have Spencer Dinwiddie, who wants to prove himself as like a full-time starter now, like instead of historically just being a bench player. And you know, depending on how he comes back from his injuries, I think Spencer Dinwiddie is going to have actually a really good season. They also have Montrezl Harrell. Kyle Kuzma needs to build his name back up again. They drafted a shooter, Corey Kispert from Gonzaga. They have Morris Davis Bertans. They have a lot of pieces, actually. I think they are legitimately like 10 deep, and they can probably give you like anywhere from 8 to 10 points, those role players. And honestly, if you have Brad Beal playing, you know, at an all-star level, scoring 30 a game, and the rest of the team does all the little things, I think they're going to be a tough out. I think they can possibly be as high as like a 5th or 6th seed in the East. Best case scenario. There's a bold prediction. It's not bold, actually. The Bucks will win the East, most likely, because they are a good regular season team, and Giannis goes all out all the time. But I think they are going to lose in the second round of the playoffs. The defending champions are going to struggle, and I think a lot of good things happened to them last year. And they're a tough team, but I think they kind of revert back to what they were before this season, and I can see them getting upset in the playoffs this year. I think the most improved player in the NBA, and this is going to be a tough category, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say Saddiq Bey from the Detroit Pistons is going to be that guy. Now, this is kind of contingent on a couple of things happening. I think Cade Cunningham is going to set him up very nicely, so he's going to get a lot of easy buckets. But I also like him a lot as a player. 6'8", can hit the three at a good clip, and you know, honestly, Detroit doesn't have a lot of things going on for them. I think there's a possibility that Jeremy Grant could be traded because he has some value, and he probably doesn't fit the rebuilding, timeline that Detroit has. Oh, by the way, Detroit, can you please get some good uniforms? You guys have the worst uniforms. That Chauncey Billups, Richard Hamilton, Ben Wallace era is over. Stop using that like scheme and everything. Like, I'm sick and tired of it. Bring back the teal. Bring back the piston. Like, you need a uniform change so badly. You guys are so boring, okay? I'm sorry. Your court looks cool. I know you guys updated that, but your uniforms suck. Anyways, Saddiq Bey, keep an eye out for him. I think he's going to have a hell of a season. A first-timer will win the MVP this season, okay? And, you know, I know the sexy pick is going to be Luka, and I'm not mad with Luka winning MVP. I think that's a fair enough assumption. I think he really, honestly is like maybe a top 5, definitely a top 7 player in the NBA. Will Dallas win enough games for him to win MVP? I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that, okay? But I don't think your Kevin Durant's, your LeBron James, your Giannis's, your James Harden's, Russell Westbrook, like your more recent, like, you know, MVPs, I don't think any of those guys are going to win. Jokic, I don't know if Jokic is going to repeat. I don't think so. honestly, like if I'm going to have to pick a dark horse in the West, if the Utah Jazz completely shatter their expectations and win like 60 plus games, you got to give it to Donovan Mitchell. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to be the main reason why. In the East, if somehow maybe like the Atlanta Hawks build on that confidence that Trae Young had last year in the playoffs, maybe if they somehow come to the number 1 seed in the East somehow, maybe you got to consider Trae Young. Luka Doncic, as I mentioned, if he somehow wills the Mavs into a number 1 seed, Kawhi Leonard, I think we are going to see a first-timer win the NBA MVP for this season. Who is it? I'll have to figure that out later. Number 8, Steph Curry will average a career high in assists. Now, 2013, 2014, 8.5 assists per game was Steph Curry's high. And, a lot of people look at Steph Curry as a, game changer, and that's rightfully so. Like he's kind of consistently a threat all the time. But I think lost in his game always is his playmaking, and I think this is going to be a season where he can probably push for 9 assists or more, maybe like close to 10 assists a game. I think he's going to have a lot of people coming back to help him. They're going to have the right system, and I think Steph Curry is going to defer a little bit more. Maybe his scoring goes down a little bit, but his assists go up. So I think he's going to average a career high in assists. I don't know if it's going to be enough to lead the league, but I think he's definitely going to be in that conversation. Okay, well, I already mentioned this, but I think the Utah Jazz overachieve. I know they're a sexy pick as well to win the West. They actually were the number 1 seed, I believe, in the West last year. They won like 52 games. They were the number 1 seed last year. They won like 52 games. They did a great job. I think this year they stay a little bit healthier. They see leaps from Donovan Mitchell, who takes his game to another level, I think. And, they get more continuity because they're pretty much bringing back the same roster. I like the addition of Rudy Gay that they added. I think that was awesome. And, I think they're going to be a tough out. I really do. Like, honestly, like, I could see them winning 60 games. Like, no doubt. Last year, only one team had less than 20 wins on the season. And I guess that's kind of good. It's good for parity. You got some stronger NBA teams. I mean, there's still some bottom feeders out there, but it's not like you're seeing 5 teams out there below 20 wins. Well, this year, I actually think there's going to be 5 teams. I need to consider this all the way, but if I had to just guess, I think the Rockets don't have enough talent. I think the Spurs, I know not to bet against the Spurs, but they just don't have the talent. I just don't see it. They have a coach, they have a mastermind, and they're going to be tough, but I just don't think the Spurs are designed, and I think they need a high draft pick badly. The Orlando Magic desperately need offense, and they just don't have a lot of that going on, so they just cannot compete with a lot of teams. The Detroit Pistons, similar situation. They're going to be more exciting with Cade Cunningham, but I don't know. And the 5th team, I don't know if I wanted to put this team there. Yeah, I can say Sacramento. Yeah, I can say Charlotte possibly, or I can say the Indiana Pacers, who might just blow it up. But honestly, I don't know if the Toronto Raptors want to be super competitive this season. And I say that cautiously because Nick Nurse is, I think, the best coach in the NBA. But I don't know if Toronto needs a desperate superstar, and Pascal Siakam might not be that guy. Fred VanVleet is still good. OG Anunoby is really good too. I just think that the Toronto Raptors have more incentive to finish bottom 5th, to be honest, than win 30 games and try to make it into as an 8th seed or a 9th seed or whatever the case may be. So from bottom feeders to a top surprise, I am all in on the Chicago Bulls this year. I think the Chicago Bulls will finish in the top 3 in the East. I absolutely love their big 4. I think Lonzo Ball is poised to have a great season. He's going to get the ball to any one of those scorers between LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic. Any one of those 3 guys can get you 20 points or more on any given night. I think they're going to be such a fun team to watch. I'm so super excited. Patrick Williams, Kobe White. If Chicago does not finish in the playoff hunt. And if they, I'm very bullish on the. I'm very I'm all in on the Bulls. Okay, so I got them pegged as a 3 seed in the East, and I think they're going to be somewhere in that conversation for one of the best teams in the East. So watch out, the Bulls are coming for you this year. Last year, the Atlanta Hawks overachieved a lot. I don't know if they can repeat the success that they had. That's going to be dependent on a lot about Trae Young staying healthy. I know a couple of preseason games ago he injured his ankle, and I think they're being cautious with him, which is not a good sign to begin with. But I think Cam Reddish is going to be a very big factor for them this year. I can honestly see him being definitely the third leading scorer, possibly the second leading scorer, depending on John Collins' involvement. But I honestly expect him to make a big leap. I think people will be surprised, and I think Cam Reddish is going to live up to some of that expectation that he had. It's kind of bold, but if he averages close to 17 or 18 a game and plays good defense as a two-way player, I think Cam Reddish is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Possibly a trade chip to get a superstar. Talk about that later. So, Portland fans, cover your ears. I think Damian Lillard is going to request to be traded around the All-Star break. I think the Blazers are in such a tough spot in the West. They have a rookie coach with Chauncey Billups, who I know who wants to preach defense, but the roster just doesn't seem like it's there. They have some continuity. They're bringing back some of their, focal point of their offense and everything. But I think we've run to the course where Damian Lillard has done everything that he could, and it's just not going to be enough with, the roster that they have with CJ McCollum and whatnot. And I think he's going to respectfully ask to be traded around the All-Star, break. So, sorry, Portland. I don't know. That's my bold prediction right there. It's not really bold. Everybody's kind of asking for it, but, it sucks. So, the Phoenix Suns cannot replicate the success that they had last season, making it all the way to the finals. And I actually think they're still a good team, very competitive. But I think they kind of slip in the standings a little bit. I actually have them pegged a little bit in the 6 to 8 seed, and I think it's going to be tough for them. And it's not because that they're poorly constructed. It's just that I think they're asking for too much from Chris Paul, and I think teams are going to be a little bit more aware of how they play. Now, unless Mikal Bridges has a very big leap in his game offensively, becomes a legit third option, or DeAndre Ayton becomes a paint beast and is consistently putting up over 20 points a game, I think they're still kind of relying on the same system where Booker and CP3 have to initiate all the offense. And that's okay. It was successful for them in the playoffs. They deserve everything that they got last year. And they should have won the finals. They really should have. But I think they're going to slip a little bit. I see them kind of finishing around the 6 to 8 range in the West. So it's my prediction for them. And lastly, I think Ben Simmons ends up on the Cleveland Cavaliers as part of a 3-team trade. I think it's going to probably involve a team like Sacramento or Indiana. And you kind of see a lot of these players. You might see Sabonis going elsewhere, maybe Sabonis to the Kings, or Ben Simmons to the Cavs, and the Pacers rebuild and they get picks and whatever else the case may be. But I think the end game is that Ben Simmons ends up as a Cleveland Cavalier. The Sixers take back a guard. I actually think they're going to have to take back Kevin Love and eat up his salary for 2 years. And maybe, you play Kevin Love with Joel Embiid, get some size, shooting, and you move Tobias Harris to the 3 spot. You become the slowest team in the league if you get Kevin Love. But at this point, it's just kind of the Ben Simmons dilemma is over. So that's kind of where it's at. So those are my first 15 hot takes, mild takes, NBA takes, whatever you want to do it. I got 60 more coming on the way before tip-off. Please stay tuned. Let's talk basketball. Hit me up in the comments. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me what you agree with. Please let me know. Peace.